What's up guys? Coach Nate here from Fleet Feet talking about core strength for runners. In this video, I'm going to give you two of my favorite exercises I'm going to do with a little bit of a workout at the end. I'm going to tell you why core strength is important, why it goes just beyond strengthening your abdominals or getting that nice beautiful six pack, which hey, never hurts to have. But we're going to talk about how it connects with your running, your mechanics, your form, and we're going to talk about how you can use core strength exercises to develop your skill and your movement capacity and your overall strength so that you can run better, smoother, and stay nice and healthy. So let's dive in. Let's get started with this hollow body hold, which we're going to get into in a second. But I want to talk about really what it does. And the key thing about the hollow body hold is it really teaches us how to stabilize our pelvis and our lumbar spine. This is probably the most flexible, mobile part of our spine that tends to move the most. And when this gets out of position is when we tend to get into trouble, whether we start to round this way or whether a lot of times our pelvis dumps forward and we arch and overextend our low back. When we start to do that thing, our posture starts to go away, our run form starts to become really difficult to maintain, our cadence starts to drop. None of the things that you want, all those things start to happen. So we're gonna start by getting onto our back. I'm gonna start with my feet on the ground, tucked in right by my butt. Hands are gonna be palm up by my side, and I'm just going to relax. Now, I'm on the grass, so the grass is kind of feeding into my low back, but you may notice that when you relax, your low back starts to arch off the ground, and that's gonna be that excessive arch that we wanna control. So what you're first gonna do is you're gonna lift your knees off the ground, and you're gonna curl your shoulders off the ground, and my hands are gonna be palm up by my side. As I do this, notice that I'm actually pressing my low back into the ground. I'm starting to take that natural arch of my lumbar spine away, and really press in. And this is this hollow body. I'm hollowing out my body into this position to really stabilize that low back. And you'll notice your abdominals are gonna be firing like crazy to do it. Now, the other part of this isn't just a exercise that I'm doing, it's a positional thing, because as I fatigue and hold this as long as I'm talking to you, my back starts to arch off the ground. I've lost position. This little exercise not only teaches you how to stabilize and strengthen your core, but it really gets you tuned in to what's happening with that lumbar spine particularly. So now we're gonna make it more difficult. This is the basic level 1 position. Knees curled up off the ground, low back pressed hard. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend one leg out just like this at about a 45-degree angle. Woo! That gets a little bit harder. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring an opposite arm up overhead. Oh, notice my shoulders are gonna wanna drop. I gotta keep them lifted. Oh, this is getting hard. I'm gonna bring my other arm up overhead, and then finally, both arms and legs extended into this full position. Whoo, if I start to lower, it gets really, really hard. Oh, I'll bring myself back in and rest and relax a little bit. Whew. That is our hollow body position. Start with level 1, work on extending a leg if you can, bring that arm back, but you are laser focused on what's happening with your lumbar spine and its relationship to the ground, trying to keep that solid pressure all the way through. This next exercise is a twist on a plank. It's one of my favorites. It's such a good complement to the hollow body. Okay, so this next exercise is something called a reverse plank. That's right, we're gonna take our regular plank, which you might see from your elbows, your hands here, and we're gonna flip ourselves around and face the other way. And we're gonna do this for a few reasons. A lot of times this plank is great, but what it really biases is abdominals, hip flexors, etc., to keep ourselves upright. And what we're gonna wanna focus on is actually the posterior to complement, get our hamstrings, our glutes, our low back involved, to get into a little bit of extension as such an important thing. Because when we run, every time I run, you're gonna lose the top half of my body. I'm extending. I need to be good and controlled in this extended position, the ability to extend this leg out the back. In order for my leg to extend out the back, a lot of hamstrings, a lot of glutes, so I gotta train that with my core strength and conditioning. And that's why we're gonna do this reverse plank. You can do this from two ways. I'm gonna do it from my hands, but I'm gonna quickly show you from my elbows, where I'm gonna deliberately just start in this position, and I'm gonna push my hips up like this. An even more modified version of this was just a simple bridge, holding my bridge this way, a lot of hamstring, a lot of glute. The way we're gonna make that a little bit harder today is go from our hands, where we're gonna press on up just like this. Now, my hands, what I'm purposely doing is having my fingers face forward. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna wind my shoulders up a little bit, and it's gonna put my wrists into a little bit more extension. I personally think this is healthy for us to do every once in a while, to learn how to load our wrists up this way, because we spend so much time with our hands curled over steering wheel, on a keyboard, on our phone, curled when we run. By loading up this way, it's just an added little benefit. But if this is too painful, turn your hands out to the side, this way, or face out the back. And if that's too hard, go your elbows. And then again, if this one is too hard, hey, tuck yourself in and work on a bridge hold just like this. So you got some levels. But as I do this, a few things I want to focus on. One, I want to press, I want to keep my abs on, but I want to press my hips up, really squeezing my butt tight. And I want to bridge up as high as I can. And I also want to press through my shoulders specifically, really not letting myself sink through. You notice that there's a difference between kind of this. I'm technically in a bridge, but it doesn't look the same as really pressing through the shoulders, pressing through the hips, breathing and trying to maintain. Again, this is like the hollow body position that we just worked on. There's a skill element to this. Not only am I going through the motions of the movement, but can I check those boxes? Can I make sure that I'm in those good positions? As I start to fatigue, I start to lose that position and I start to fall apart. If I can do those two things, I can then start to connect with my running and I can make a really big difference. But first, let's share a little workout on how to combine these two movements together. A great 4-minute core exercise workout that you can do a couple times a week. All right, so we are going to do a Tabata style core workout, alternating between these two movements, our hollow body hold and our reverse planks. And a Tabata interval is 20 seconds of work with 10 seconds of rest for 4 minutes. That's 8 total intervals that you're gonna do, which basically means if we're alternating 2 exercises, you're gonna get 4 20-second holds of each one. This 20-second is a really nice hold because you can make it hard, but you can keep it focused without going too long. So notice I'm not having you hold a max plank for forever, because those tend to just fall apart and get a little bit messy and ugly. So I'm gonna start with my hollow body hold for 20 seconds. Remember, bridging myself up here, holding this position if I can. Can I extend and hold? Breathing for that thing. I'm gonna rest for 10 seconds. And then look, I don't even need to move or change positions too much. Once I'm ready for that next 20-second interval, I'm gonna press my hips up. And again, I'm not just a mushy reverse plank, it's a maximal peak expression of it. Hips up high, press through those shoulders. Breathing for those 20 seconds. Once I hit my watch, I'm gonna come right back down, repeat a couple more times. Now you may notice as you do these, they're gonna get hard, right? Where do you start to fall apart? Can you make some adjustments? If you're extended with your arms and legs too far and you notice that your back's starting to arch off, bring an arm and leg in. You may actually start here and you may have to finish here and here. That's just fine. Same with your reverse planks. If you need to, can you drop it to your elbows, or can you drop it to, say, just a bridge to finish things off? If you can start to practice this a little bit, start to draw awareness in with your run form. Notice when you start to fall apart. Notice your daily posture habits. Can you be a little bit more upright for longer periods of time? Can you think about the work it requires to maintain this? And if you start to do, you're gonna connect the dots. You're gonna start to see it show up in your running a little bit better, which means that when you're really tired and when you really need it, your running form is gonna show up because you've paid attention to that abdominal strength. So let me know how it goes in the comments. We got more great videos on this channel, check it out. Shout out to all of you who are training with Fleet Feet all across the country. We got more videos to come.